Grace Jones would hide a large black dildo in the bed for their sort of love scenes with Roger Moore.
That's how Roger had that expression.
Probably his real reaction. Hello and welcome to the For Your Ears Only podcast. I'm Jack and this is Derek, and this is episode 0014, where we are talking about A View to a Kill, directed by John Glenn from 1985. Now you might see that we're wearing suits or tuxedos for you in America. That is because it is our end of era special, where we're talking about Roger Moore's final film. And like last time, we wore suits, so we did it again. I'd also like to say that it is our last episode of the year. It's now December, if you're watching this. So you could give us a great present by commenting and subscribing on any channel that you're watching this on. We've recently reached 100 YouTube subscribers, so that's a big milestone for us. If you're watching it on Spotify, please give it a rating. I looked at my Spotify Wrapped today. I was in the top 8% of watching this podcast. I wasn't even the number one. But if you're So, thank you. Thanks for all your support so far. And we'll see you next year.
There is actually 4 people who this is their number one listened podcast. And I'd firstly like to say thank you for listening to us. And secondly, is there nothing else you listen to?
Surely.
We are shite.
You can't even do the intro right.
But yeah, I think, yeah, like
please.
us, share it. Oh, what's something? Oh, no, he's there.
Year 2 is going to be better.
Yes, we do have big plans, which we'll get on to at the end of the episode. We're not going to bore you. No. Everyone's watched. Just go on to the film. Go on, yeah.
Right. Okay. The end of Roger Moore, and I'm glad of it, to be fair.
Roger's glad of it.
I think
Roger's happy. Everyone was happy to get this over with.
Please hurry up and finish filming.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we go straight into your 2 minutes?
Why don't we?
Because we need to let the people know why we're not happy.
I'll get on to my opinions. I'm kind of indifferent, but I'll do the 2 minutes.
Okay.
And I think I'm quite confident of these 2 minutes.
Oh yeah, it should be easy enough. But I must admit, I kind of got bored of this film, so it would be hard for me to describe the full film because I zoned out quite a lot.
I'm going to do 2 summaries. I'm going to do the first summary in 8 seconds,
right?
and then I'm going to fill the rest of the 2 minutes with the actual summary.
Okay.
Okay. Like this will be record breaking. So
8 seconds.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Go.
Okay, so see the plot for Goldfinger, swap the gold for microchips and set it in 1985.
Right, that was 5.5 seconds.
There we go. That's A View to a Kill. And that's the end of the episode. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Happy New Year.
See you next year.
Yeah, let's start that again and I'll try and do it.
Okay.
But that was spot on though.
That was quite perfect.
Okay, let's try.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. In fact, actually, we should say what we're doing. We never said what we're doing.
I think if people have got to episode 14, they know what we're doing already. If you have never watched this is the first episode you're watching it, then
we're going to
watch it if you want.
The film
we're going to skip the film inside 2 minutes. You're probably wondering why I just went on a small rant there.
Right,
you'll get used to that.
2, 1, go.
Right, so A View to a Kill opens with Bond in the snow recovering the body of an agent who has a microchip on him. Got it back from the Russians and then they analyse it. Obviously, there's opening title sequences that happens in that moment as well. They go back, they realise that this microchip is the same as one which the British government have developed. This is a very specialist type of microchip which can withstand EMPs from nuclear weapons set off in space. They think it's suspicious that this company's developed it shortly after this takeover and think the Russians are somehow involved because it's the 80s and the Russians are up to everything really. So, MI6 investigate this Max Zorin. They go to this horse race place, Ascot I think it is. Mm-hmm. They go there, they find Zorin who's got a horse who is winning when he shouldn't be winning, so they think that's suspicious. James Bond goes to investigate An investigator is looking into Zorin in France. He's then assassinated, which James Bond thinks suspicious. So then he pretends to be a wealthy person, goes to these stables to investigate Zorin. Zorin's then onto him, tries to kill him, knows he's a bad guy. After that, he goes back to America after killing him, kind of pals up with the CIA. It turns out that he's trying to pay off as this geologist and kill off everyone who's his competitor. His master plan is to submerge Silicon Valley, so he is the number one microchip distributor worldwide.
Yep. 30 seconds.
After escaping a building fire which Zorin set after killing the head of some geological department, James Bond and this person who is really underqualified goes into a mine. Zorin tries to kill everyone in his organisation. James Bond and Zorin's old pal, Mayday,
10.
get the bomb out. She dies. I don't know what else to explain.
4, 3.
And then they get away.
No.
I can't remember. I honestly can't remember how he gets onto the
blimp.
The blimp,
the Zeppelin thing.
Oh yeah, oh I know.
Yeah, that just runs. And
oh yeah, oh I remember that.
Hold the cable.
Yes, because she doesn't hear this obnoxiously loud, slow-moving Zeppelin come after her, picks her up onto a rope. And then they go. This is where I'm kind of lost. Is they go to the Golden Gate Bridge for reasons unknown.
Are they heading to Silicon Valley?
No,
the way there?
No. He's trying to hit him off the thing, the rope, and then they run. He tries to run into the bridge.
Yeah.
But then he goes, "Okay, well, you're moving at like half a mile an hour. I'll just jump off here, tie the rope, and then a fight ensues, and
dynamite.
That's pretty much it.
Dynamite.
Yeah, I have a bad habit of trying to describe a film and then go off into like weird rants of my own opinion.
Well, that's good. That's.
I thought I was pretty much summed up in my 5.5 seconds attempt.
Yeah, we'll edit it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's. I think that's really where it is. We get to a point where we try and describe the history. I think there was a lot of wee history bits which influenced this movie.
I don't know. I didn't really have anything. I said that the first Mac computer came on sale. It's all about microchips. Phone calls were getting made from cell phones in the 80s. But I didn't really say anything specifically why he wanted microchips.
I mean, I think Goldfinger's just the big influence.
Yeah, well, it
is. Like, I know we've joked before about saying that some movies are like the same movie than the ones previous. This is very obnoxiously similar.
Yeah, it's just obvious as well.
Yeah, it's again very American focused. It's
just 80ified. Sorry, I should have turned that off.
I think. Well, there's obviously Goldfinger is, I think, not an inspiration for it, but obviously Silicon Valley was getting big in the 70s and 80s, and that was where like Apple, Microsoft, Atari, Oracle, Adobe, Cisco were all based. Yes. They were the big companies that were rising through there. Another bit of not really an influence of the movie, but the Doctor was, I'm assuming, going to be based off Joseph Mengele. I don't know how to pronounce the last name, but he was an actual Nazi doctor who
did all
experimented in the concentration camps.
That's probably who he's.
That's just essentially it. Let's give him a monocle and make him look evil.
Yeah, give him an accent.
That's it, Jeff. Well, it's the thing that like Christopher Walken's character went, he's went from this country to this country, this country. No accent, and I'm like, no accent, Christopher Walken.
That's the most obvious accent, most recognisable voices in the world.
For your ears only.
No.
That'll be the last we do of that. But yeah, I didn't think there really was much influence in that. I'm not entirely sure why they made this movie.
Because it has nothing to do with the book. The novel, apart from the novel being set in Paris, that's it.
But then Roger hated it. Roger didn't like doing this. This is his least favourite movie. Yeah. He thought he was too old to do it. I'm like, but why did you do it? Yeah,
that's one thing I couldn't find out information on, is why did they do it? Because
he was contracted for 2 movies.
But no, he was getting negotiated on a film by film basis throughout the 80s.
Mm.
And I get why they came back for Octopussy, because he was up against Sean Connery and he had the big name, but that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So why is he
Even
back
he was
again?
like saying, I think he actually said he was 400 years too old for this movie, and I agree.
Yeah, he does look very old. And
I think it had its moments where it was entertaining, but entertaining from a 80s action movie. Entertaining. That was really it. It wasn't, because he himself was like, this doesn't really feel like a James Bond movie, and the reason he didn't think it was a James Bond movie is because of Zoran's character.
Yeah,
and I
how
thought Zoran
evil he
was actually a great character. I thought that was
liked
probably
it.
one of the only redeeming parts of the movie.
yeah, his actual personality, characteristic traits. Yeah,
Because he does say, don't listen to him, he's a psychopath. And he is. It's like the fact that he was killing everyone, it was very violent. And I get that Roger was saying, oh no, this is violent noise. I don't know, that's not a James Bond movie. And I'm like, well, you just stick around for the rest of the 80s and see what happens.
yeah, well, true.
Yeah, I think that was actually one of my favourite bits, and he's a very iconic villain for that. Not for his plan or anything, but just the fact that he Walkened the character.
Yeah, even at the end where he's like slipping and sliding on the Golden Gate Bridge trying to get a grip, and he's like laughing to himself as he's about to fall. I was like, that's he's a good character.
What I didn't really
insane.
see that fight at the end. What I didn't get is they built him up like he was going to be a physically dominant character.
Yeah.
The fact that he was fighting Mayday and could fight Mayday, and then at the end it's, I'll just give him an axe and then he'll follow. And I was like, I wanted a fight in the actual
In the
blimp, but then maybe he couldn't because he would just battle this 60-year-old guy.
Exactly.
Give him an axe.
Walking stick.
Did you know, we mentioned before, I think in one of the last episodes, you were going to have Dolph Lundgren cast.
Yes.
Do you know why Dolph Lundgren was in this movie?
I do now. Yes.
Okay.
Because he was dating Grace Jones.
Yes.
And just sort of was there on set.
Huh?
But he's not.
It's lucky.
I don't know if he's really in it, to be fair. Just in the background.
Yeah, he's just a.
But yeah, I do have to apologise for putting him in as Red Grant. I think I did.
How dare you? Do you have a question? You're doing the questions this week, actually.
I do have the question. We never even spoke about the questions.
We never. I actually had a few questions noted, but I'm intrigued to see what your questions are.
Right,
And
okay.
my questions are actually quite hard, so yeah, you go with yours.
Okay. Well, I thought mine are also pretty hard, but I'm going to go with this one, which is one I got wrong when I was looking at it. Right. So, I would like to know the name of the horse that James Bond rides when he's racing Zoran and all of his lackeys.
That was one I had noted.
Wherever it is.
I also had noted, just in case you want to add a bonus question there.
Bonus.
Did you have any more questions about horses?
No, I didn't.
No.
I didn't.
I was going to say there was we know which horse came first
Yes.
in the race. We know which horse came second.
Oh.
But what horse came third?
I don't know. I knew that.
And I forgot. I've got it written down, but I forgot it.
It was a bit too easy to ask who won the Ask It, but who was James Bond riding when he was racing against Zoran? Well, that was a good one.
That is a good question. Yeah, I think I don't really know where my opinion stands with this movie.
Oh,
I would
mine
actually
does.
really like to know other. You don't like it?
No, I think we went from such a great film to this, like, almost like in his nadir, his like worst film, because it just goes on, nothing interesting happens. I was watching it with my family, and even they were like, "What's this all about? What's happening here? What's the point in this?"
I think
it just seems a bit boring. He's obviously too old. That kind of takes me out of it as well. There's some funny bits like in the intro where they're doing the snowboarding, and then suddenly the Beach Boys comes on. That takes you out of it. That kind of thing is kind of on the same level as the penny whistle.
Oh, from the man with the golden gun.
But it does have good things. Like, I enjoyed the car getting cut in half and him driving him along. I thought that was pretty cool.
It's quite funny.
Funny, but nothing about this made me think this is a good Bond film.
We can't take away from the fact that how he got from, let's call it, the mid part of the Eiffel Tower to ground level before Mayday landed a parachute.
I know. How long is she floating for?
So it's like, how? There's no way he kept up with her. Plus, the guy shouting "my car" in English.
Yeah, my car.
Voiture.
Voiture, yeah.
See, you learn things in this podcast. Yeah, there was nothing necessarily bad about it. There was nothing necessarily good. No, actually, no. That's a lie. That is a lie.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Why?
There is one thing which is very good about this movie.
Okay.
And probably one of the strongest bits of any Roger movie.
Right.
The song and the theme.
I knew you were going to say
The
that.
song,
Yes, I
the
agree.
song is class, and the theme, Big John,
Uh-huh.
he's under the radar of HMRC
He's
for
come
one
back.
more moment, and the theme, like, there's a Bond moment. I know we'll get into the Bond moments, but there's a Bond moment for me which I think is the best bit of this movie.
Okay.
And I think it's a good send off for Roger, but it's not Bond. Is see when he's carrying what's her name down the ladder
of
the burning building,
Yeah.
and you've got John Barry's score
Uh-huh.
going over the top of it. It's very like action hero thing.
Yeah, it is
That's
very
really
80s.
good. And I was like, this isn't a Bond moment. This is just a guy
Yeah, it's an
just
action
doing
hero.
my duty. Like, this is
Yeah.
just a guy.
Yeah.
And I thought that was actually really good. I liked that. But it's just like a small point in a
It was
movie.
like a 5-second
And then
thing.
the Polish guy comes up and says, "We found someone dead inside with a gun. Is this your gun?" And he goes, "Oh yes, thank you." Why did you do that? I don't know what you're talking about.
Why did you say yes?
Yeah, I think
Oh.
that's the only. No, I like the song. I like the theme. I like Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken's good in everything. I like Christopher Walken in the movie. He plays a really good villain. Grace Jones was all right. I think it was kind of like a wee bit over the top.
Yeah, I
Like
don't
picking
really.
that guy up.
Yeah,
Why was
and just like holding him
in,
there
in heels? Like why was that
in front of all the KGB? Yes, I would be doing that.
Yeah, I think it was very 80s, but
It was very 80s. We are like halfway through the 80s.
then
I
there,
don't know.
then there was points that just didn't. The horse section was. Why? Is this just so we had suspicion? Was it not suspicious enough that someone killed someone with a fishing rod?
Yeah, with a butterfly on it.
What was that all about?
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be poison tipped.
Yeah.
But even that, it's pretty fast acting.
Will I wait to kill him in a situation where no one's watching? I'll wait till I'm in. Let's call it the world's most famous man-made building, because at this point it must be
Yeah.
so busy. But it's all right, I've got a parachute. I'll just jump off into the most populated city in Europe, land in a boat, and he's there. Yeah, I think there was bits like that where I was like, what's going on here? Why is...
I don't really get the horse racing Ascot scenes. It's just like something to fill time, I guess.
I think a lot of it was like that.
That, even the burning building scene, that fire chase went on for ages when he's hanging on the ladder. That's another moment. That was when my dad turned to me and said, "This isn't a very good James Bond
Why did
film."
he get out? I don't know. I'll just wait. You take the wheel. I'm getting out. Why? Where are you going?
Because he was away to like fight the he was like going to shoot the police or something. He was going on to the back of the fire engine, and then he noticed that the two police cars had incompetently put themselves together.
Right.
So he was like, I don't need to deal with them anymore.
But was he going to go and shoot them? I don't think he was.
Well, he was going out there definitely to deal with it, and then he's seen that. And
I don't think. I think he just went out because the plot needed him to go out. I need to go outside because this ladder's going to come loose, and I need to hang on it.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I just thought that's what the reason was, because you see him kind of like going, "Oh, right, that's taking care of itself."
Yeah.
And he
Plus,
tries to
they're
turn
in a
back.
crowd, and it's like, right, we need to get away from these people. What we're going to get? Why don't we get this big, red, slow, flashing light vehicle? And why don't we just...
Turn the horn on.
The building is on fire. Why don't we steal the fire engine?
Go away. Away.
Yeah, I'm going to get away. There's a few points of this movie where I went full, not movie critic, but I was like,
Okay.
right, that doesn't make any sense. One, burning building. When she's in the lift and he smashes and takes a hose on, I went, oh, there's a hose he can put the fire at. No, he doesn't turn it on. Why doesn't he turn the hose on? Why?
Because he doesn't need to save anyone.
Why does, like, there's a fire in the lift shaft, there's a fire in the hall,
Yep.
fire in the disco, like, and there's a hose, and it's like, right, Turn it on. Just spray it.
No, that would take too much time.
Just grab onto this and come up.
Take the hose.
So that's the first bit. I was like, you could have put this fire
Could have
out.
saved many lives.
Yes.
And the rest of the
You could have just put the fire out and that would have been that.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the first thing. The other thing, which is a bit of a niche one, is, so see, what's his name? Sir?
Godfrey.
Godfrey. Yeah. Who is Sir Godfrey? He's a wealthy guy, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think he's anything to do with the Secret Service.
No, he's just a wealthy person who was at Ascot. So when they work out that something's off with the horses.
Yeah.
Right. That's actually after the guy has been killed by the fishing rod.
Yeah.
And he says, I had to pay all this money because you destroyed these people's wedding cake.
Yeah, like 9 million francs or something.
And then he says, there's a stud farm.
Yes.
I think it's a good idea if you go here. And Sir Godfrey says, okay, I think I can get you tickets. Right.
Because it's an auction.
Yes.
It's a horse auction. He must have been invited
Yes.
or something.
So, if I was a spy and I wanted to stay inconspicuous, what I would say is, right, Sir Godfrey, you're clearly known because you're a sir, you're wealthy, you're in this pool, people will know who you are.
Yeah.
And obviously you have money.
If you can get a ticket, they'll know who you are.
Yes. Why don't you be yourself and I will be your unknown chauffeur that no one cares for and no one's going to bat an eyelid of, and I can sneak around because, let's be honest, they both snuck around the exact same level. They both went in the same places, they both went to the Sable, they both went to the secret lab. Everything they did together. The downfall was that James Bond unknowingly, Zora had like a facial recognition scanner. Now if that happened to Godfrey, they'd be like, okay, well, you are Sir Godfrey. You're just a guy in the wrong place. But no, let's give you a fake identity. Let's give the chauffeur a fake identity as well. And then it goes wrong.
And then you get caught, obviously. And then it leads to the death of this old wealthy man who did not need to die.
Yeah, he didn't need to be there.
Classic character.
Why? I'm sorry, why is it? I get that James Bond has to be the guy in the suit and stuff, but he doesn't need to be. He could just be a chauffeur.
Yeah.
It was more the fact that Sir Godfrey was doing the exact same thing James Bond did.
It was a bit of a comic relief, I guess, where they're getting the sir to wash the car or carry the bags. I think that is probably half the reason.
But I was just like, well, why would you not? Why would you not do that? But then again, that's 1985. It's too obvious with it.
That reminded me. There's a lot of we're in the 80s, so there's a lot of obvious branding and advertising going on.
Yeah.
Especially when like Sir Godfrey's carrying all this Louis Vuitton luggage.
The Louis Vuitton luggage and the Louis Vuitton even case thing.
Yeah, sort of card case or something. Yeah. It's checkbook, something like that. And there's loads of there's Seikyo, obviously. There's watches.
I don't see a lot.
There's
there's BP at the garage.
Yeah.
There's the Michelin tire that saves his life.
Yep. There's
Apple.
There's a lot. There's Apple.
She has an Apple computer in her bedroom and she looks at the thing. There's also Bacardi, which is like the bottle. That's the Molotov.
The Molotov. It's like, show the camera the label.
Smash. And I noted as well there was a sharper image. I don't really think they exist anymore, but that was the card that he used to unlock the thing. And apparently it was like a catalogue and it was a big thing in the 80s and such. So yeah, there's a lot of like brand. I think
branding.
On the gadgets they got, there was the copier case thing, the Ring camera, which I thought was just quite cool.
I actually enjoyed that as well.
That was good. I liked that. I was like, could that be made nowadays? Is like, that's
does it have to make the noise though of the shutter going on?
That was quite interesting. I think the window lock card there with the sharper image and the glasses that spun, I am not entirely sure what they did other than see-through tinted glass.
Yeah, that was their whole idea.
It's just
to untint the glass, and I think it was called anti-tint glasses.
Right. It's good that they really were conspicuous, these big like, plastic things around the side. But yeah, that was really the gadgets. The gadgets were built...
The shaver that detects the audio bugs in the room. Beep, 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 beep. Probably that electric shaver's put in the 80s thing.
Yeah. You'd think that the microphone they were listening would hear the beep, 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 beep.
Yeah, and then the tape recorder that they sit on the bedside table, they haven't moved around this room
Oh,
in
yeah.
12 hours.
Where did they record?
Yes. Do they have to go back?
Quick, let's record us arguing for like
12
3
hours of
hours,
audio.
and then I need to record me snoring as well.
Just look a 5-second loop.
Yeah, like the gadgets were all built for snooping. They didn't really do a lot of snooping. The chauffeur did.
Speaking of snooping, another gadget is Snooper, the dog Q's electric dog
What's
thing.
that, man?
I think that was called Snooper.
What was that for?
What was the point in it?
Was that just for the end sequence?
Yeah, because he sees him at the very start,
Yeah.
and then it's right at the
And again,
end.
that's like, what's this for stealth? Beep, 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 beep.
massive electric dog.
Why does it need a face?
It reminded me of K9 from Doctor Who. I think they just stole that.
Never watched Doctor Who, so
Okay, well,
I don't know.
that was a 70s thing.
I don't know these things. Yeah, there was a few other wee kind of things. Like, I think another thing as well, where, you know how where there's a guy trying to plant a mine on the the docks.
Oh,
But-
yes. Okay, the pipeline bit.
Yeah, and they get caught, or the guy gets
The
caught.
Russians, they're the KGB.
Oh, are they? Right. So,
Because obviously he's defected, so they're out to sabotage him.
all right, yeah. So they bring a mine. Now, I'm assuming that mine is to possibly do him some damage, possibly kill him.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So then when that guy gets caught, now that guy knows he's going to die. But they're like,
know
then they went, defuse this, and he defuses it. I'm like, why did you do that?
Yeah.
Why?
I'm not going to save your life.
You're like, what's going to happen is he's probably going to just have to throw it in the water
Yeah.
and let it explode. But
A lot.
you're going to die. Why would you not?
Take them all with you,
Yeah, like,
basically. another silly plot point. But that was a good gruesome death, probably, that
Yeah.
Roger was not happy with.
when I watched, I was like, ooh,
He gets, like, incinerated, basically.
chewed up. I think we spoke about the branding there with the Michelin thing with the tyre, and I was like, is that possible? And I forgot they did this on Mythbusters.
Yeah, I wrote
And they
that
tried it.
down.
And
But I never got a chance to rewatch it. I was going to watch that.
yeah,
Mythbusters,
I think it's really hard to. It's
They said it wasn't. It couldn't be done.
yeah, because I think you have to move. You'd have to put your teeth onto the actual pin
Yeah.
and move the pin out the way, but then the pressure of that would like blow your teeth
Teeth
out.
off, yeah.
But it depends on the pressure of the tyre. It depends on how long the tyre's been in the water, because obviously just water's just generally cold. Depends the depth of the tyre as well. All these things. Is it one of those things where, oh, if you had to do it in the moment, would you do it? But then,
At risk of blowing your face off with pressure, probably.
yeah,
Would you though? Or could you not just swim to the top?
could you swim in the direction where they're not standing? Probably. you probably do that.
I think he's done it in several movies.
Yeah, you could just swim that way. Or it was a bank, swim to the bank. Yeah, there was a few bits, but then it's more. They probably thought, Michelin have given us this money. Where do we put the tyre in? Get the badge in. And this wasn't even a real tyre. It wasn't even a real. It was just like done that afternoon. Just paint Michelin on this.
Oh dear.
That will do. I think that's really kind of what happened with it. Yeah, there was a few wee bits with this where I completely forgot about until I forgot between watching it for the first time last week and watching it for the second time. See the scene with the Russian agent? Why was that even in it?
The female agent.
Yes.
The one,
Paloma.
or something like that.
Yeah, her. The one with the tape recorder.
Pola Ivanova.
Yes,
Sort
her.
of down.
What was that for?
I don't know, but I've had written down that she was supposed to be Triple X, and that character from Spy Who Loved Me was supposed to return in that role as a sort of throwback,
All right.
but she refused to come back, or declined to come back.
Barbara Bach.
So they had
Someone
like,
completely different.
well, it's in the script now. You have to do it.
Okay, someone else. We'll just give it a new face. Let's bring Maud Adams back. Maud Adams is in this.
I read that.
Did you know
I
that?
never really.
She's an extra. She's an extra at the dock
never
because she
seen
was
it.
over visiting Roger, and you know what James Bond producers are like. You've been in it before. Fuck it, come back in again. And did put her in. Yeah, I didn't understand that whole scene. Something I did notice, and I had to rewind this, is See when she is running away with the tape recorder. She gets out of the hot tub place.
Bathrobe thing, yeah.
And she's running into the car. Mm-hmm. And it's meant to be the KGB guy in the trench coat.
Yeah.
See in the car the first time, that's a completely different guy.
What?
So it's the guy, what's his name? The guy who's the KGB guy in all the movies.
Yeah, the head.
So you know he's in the car when they're there and they play that, right? Then they play it. So see the far away shot where she's running to get in the car?
To the car.
That's a completely different guy. Right. Because I went, oh, I was like full Leo DiCaprio, like, and I rewound and I was like, that's a different guy. Look at it. I mean, have you Kill's got another, at this point, 12 hours left on Prime, so go back and see this one thing, and they've just got a completely different actor. And I'm like, why did you just do that?
Yeah, what was the point in that?
I don't know if it probably filmed in
different days, yeah.
Maybe not different days, but a different area.
Surely the guy would be there. If he knows he has to be in that shot.
Genuinely look back at the bit where the Russian agent is coming out of the bathhouse.
Yeah.
And in the car, and you'll see this guy. I was like, that. It's a kind of balding white man. That's the only thing, but it's not the same guy.
It's not the KGB guy.
Like, why? What's this for? What's happening?
Yeah, that's some shoddy work there, John Glenn. 3-time director.
John Glenn didn't have his bird in this movie either.
No, but he had. What did he have in it? The thing that's the cat is a jump scare.
Oh yes, actually, the cat and the cat that's just called Pussy.
Yeah. Another throwback. Well, do you think the bathhouse is a throwback to You Only Live Twice? Because it's a Japanese bathhouse and it looks the exact same. I think it's a far stretch, but I thought, no. Basically, if they just uncovered that whole set intact, went, oh, forgot about this. Use this.
Would make Roger Japanese. Yeah, I forgot about that jump scare thing. I think with the actual movie itself, when it was made, because we mentioned at the start of this episode how I think we just wanted this finished and wanted it done. Roger didn't like it.
No.
Roger didn't really get on with Grace Jones, but Grace Jones really liked Roger Moore, but her thing was, because she was wanting to do a good impression, she was trying to be like, not a method actor, but she was like, oh, my character doesn't like James Bond, so I'm going to try and not like James Bond offset. And Roger Moore was just like, fucking, what's wrong with you? Like, not being mean, but kind of been dismissive. But she was like, no, it was fine. I was just trying to get into the character. And Roger was just like, I'm 60-year-old. I don't have time for this.
Oh, I read the bit where she would play loud music in her trailer,
and
Roger Moore couldn't get his afternoon nap. So that's why he hated
like a toddler. There was a bit when we watched it for the first time a few weeks ago, and when they come out the mine ready to go, and she's wearing that jumpsuit, and I was like, is that a guy's jumpsuit? Like, what size is this? And it turns out that jumpsuit was custom made to that actress because she wouldn't wear just a generic jumpsuit.
Why?
Because apparently she was very difficult to work with, and right. John Glenn went, fuck it, go to costume, they'll make one for you. So they made
one
this.
That just suited her.
Yeah, because look how like tight it is at the waist. Like, what guy I see on that set is that going to fit?
Nobody.
No one. And it was like cropped at the ankles and such. And obviously she still had her heels and stuff on. And then at the point when Mayday's trying to pull her down and pulls the trousers off, and then she's like, I'm just going to takes the whole thing off, and there's just like a white dress underneath. Like, what?
It's very sexified, the 80s. It's all about exploitation. Yes. Almost.
But I mean, there's like Grace Jones' eyebrows.
Grace Jones, yeah. Even Grace Jones isn't wearing a lot in this.
No, she's not.
And then,
but her eyebrows, always on.
Always on.
Always on.
Killer eyebrows.
Killer eyebrows,
I think that the Russian agent, that's it, when James Bond like springs on her and then like rips off all of her clothes, basically. She's just wearing like a crop top thing. I was like, alright, okay, we get it. She's a girl.
A woman?
Another Russian woman.
I thought, are you going to
it's
question
time
2?
For question 2.
Okay.
Do you want to give a question? Or my second question is to do with city halls.
City halls?
Yeah, so when they're in city halls, they're talking to the oil and gas department, whatever her name is, the geologist is there, and Max Zorin sets a place on fire. I would like to know what floor of the building are they on?
That's good.
What office?
I think the only way I would get that is by thinking about the lift number. Is that how you think about it? I know the answer. No, I don't.
What floor are they on?
That is a good question. That's quite a hard one. But then again, you could probably get that if you think. Turn your brain on.
Yeah, just watch it.
I thought at the end, see when the KGB guy's there and he's like, I'm here to give a medal. Like,
yeah.
And I'm like, that's bugged. that's bugged, or that's radioactive, or that's poisonous. There is something wrong.
Something wrong with it.
Flush that down the toilet.
Give it to Q.
Yeah, wait till that's
Q
gone and get away.
Definitely. I think there was a lot of that guy coming into MI6. He seems to be best pals with M.
Yeah.
He's like throughout the films. He's been in the office 3 times, I think.
I think the Russians would have an issue with that. Like, you're going over there quite a lot.
He's like, please help me.
There actually was I've not prepared with this, but I'm going to give really vague bits of information.
Okay.
There was a Russian intelligence officer who was he Russian? He wasn't Russian. Maybe it was actually one of the countries in the Iron Curtain, and he was not happy with the way his country was going and the way the country was being managed. And there was some kind of clue that was given, and he was approached by a British intelligence officer. The British intelligence officer said, okay, do you want to
defect?
essentially work for us?
Yeah. All right, okay.
Not really defect, but says, do you want to work for us? And he was like, yes. And he said, okay. Now, he gave so much information, and the Americans were using it, but the Americans didn't know who this was. They just knew that the British government had this mole in essentially what was the Soviet government. I really can't remember what the country was. And he started getting promoted and getting access to more and more information and being really kind of crafty with it. And eventually there came a point where the Russians knew there was a mole, and they knew it could only be one of a few people.
Mm-hmm.
And they eventually found out who it was, because it was one of there was an American CIA agent who was working for the Russians at the time, and he found out who it was, and he told the Russians.
Of course.
Now, the Russians were pretending that they didn't know who it was at first, and then there was this big escape. There was I think it was something, there was like a code where the British agent or the liaison was in a corner every morning where the Russian intelligence officer would walk past. If everything was okay, he'd be fine. However, if something was not right and he needed to get out, he would take out like a Mars bar and start eating it.
Okay.
And that's what happened. So the Russian agent had to leave his family behind. Yeah. They put him in the boot of a car and they had to drive out of Europe. And there was all these checkpoints and stuff going on and such like that. And I think there was a point where they were stopped at a checkpoint. He was in the boot. They were ready to come out. And there was sniffer dogs, and the sniffer dogs knew there was something going on. And there was a woman in the back of the car, and I think the woman was pregnant, and all that she did was she took out like food, like that, and started throwing it out the window, and the dogs went for the food. And then they lost the scent and they got away. And he got to the UK, and then eventually his family were flown over for that. I don't know why I told that story.
What was that to do with this thing?
You were talking about the KGB guy was, but that was quite like that. Where he was very senior, and he was I think at the time, this was during the era of Thatcher, because even Margaret Thatcher didn't know who it was. There was only 3 people in the British government that knew it, and he was the biggest. I think he was the biggest source of intelligence for the British and the Russian agents in the entirety of the Cold War. And I thought,
shout out to this guy.
That I've given vague bits of information. Don't even know the country, don't know his name.
If you know, you could comment
If you're
below.
that man,
If it's you, comment below. We'll send you a mug.
we'll send you a mug. We'll be our first guest next year.
And if you know who we're talking about, please comment.
Yes, it was on that show on Netflix. But yeah, I think we
remember
mentioned
that.
before about the kind of Bond moments for that, and obviously I've spoken about the ladder one for that. The only other bits I can really think of is the car that does the ramp. You know, the car that's stolen. My car.
Oh, the
does
taxi
the
that gets
ramp
cut in half.
Yeah, the ramp jump, and then obviously bits coming off the car, and that was it. I
Yeah, there's not much. I would say because it's in the trailer a lot, Mayday jumping from the Eiffel Tower is kind of a. It can't really be done, I don't think.
No, it can be done. Apparently, people did it on the day as well. They didn't want them doing it. People just went up to them and just jumped off.
What, pedestrians?
Yeah. Well, not without a parachute.
I was like, what?
I'm going to ruin their show. Yeah. No, I think the base jumping is the
Oh, right, okay.
term, but
Right, I didn't know
think
that.
people did that on the day, much to the annoyance of the film crew.
Maybe the Zeppelin exploding at the end with the dynamite. It's a pretty cool shot.
That is quite iconic. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's you think of the Zoran blimp.
Yeah.
You think of the film.
I think anytime you see a blimp now, you think it's Zoran.
Yeah,
That's just a given.
yeah.
I don't care who it is. It's just a blimp. Oh, that's Max Zoran's blimp.
Zoran.
More power! And just
the
him
Hindenburg.
shouting. Yeah.
That was really it. There wasn't a lot because, and again, maybe it's because I was like too bored and I couldn't think of anything. But also, I didn't find that many one-liners.
No, I had a few.
There was
So I had-
two or three, but I only noted one.
Yeah, but I had there's a fly in his soup. And I was like, right, well, he's
Yeah.
dead. That's,
Down. But also, yeah, butterfly, I guess.
there was a few wee bits where he was saying, like, when he was talking to his name, Jenny Flex.
Jenny Flex.
And he was like, "Oh, I'm happy, so I'm riding." He's like, "I'm an early riser myself." I
something
thought
like
it was clever. I was just like,
I
what?
don't know how that innuendo was connecting. I don't know.
yeah. I think when and even the bit when he's staring at the woman whose name I always forget, the actual main character woman, and he's like, he says to Sir Joffrey or Sir Geoffrey, like, on a mission, I'm expected to sacrifice myself.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, you're too old for this, Roger.
Very
Stop it.
Stop just
What
looking
else
at
was it?
women across the road.
That should keep them on the wrong track when he directs the.
Yeah.
And no, it's actually the tram takes the cars out the way.
That's right.
And then I think Zoran had a couple of funny lines, like
Zoran,
after he
that
drops
was
the guy and he
brilliant.
says, "Anyone else want to drop out?"
Yeah,
And
that
I was like, "Well,
that
they
was
don't
good.
know what happened, but the audience does." Very funny. And then I thought it was not really a fourth wall thing, but see when he goes over to talk to what's her name?
Who?
The woman, the main woman,
The
the geologist. Yeah.
I can't remember.
Okay, just the geologist. I can't remember when she goes to talk to
how
her,
boring
and
this
then
was.
he turns and goes, "Get her away from him." And I was like, "Is that? Does he know who James Bond is?" It's like, everyone, get her away from that man right now.
We know all about him.
Yes.
No, I didn't have anything apart from the one that I had written down was quite a letdown when they get let down into the secret base, the horse base.
Oh yeah, the horse base, horses in lab coats.
Cats on them. No.
Stop this.
Did you know whose car it was that they pushed into the water and used the Michelin tires?
The Bentley? No, the Rolls
The
Royce.
Rolls Royce.
What do you mean, whose car?
It was Broccoli's car. He donated. his
Donated.
car- donated. No, he actually drove it from London all the way to wherever they are in France, and to be used in the film. But obviously, he gets like a double car to get actually thrown into the river. His car,
Oh, so that's not his.
it's
He
not
didn't
his,
say.
but it's his car that they used for the other thing, including his actual license plate. They keep on it
All right.
for some reason.
Just to show off the money he has.
Yeah, probably.
Broccoli.
Would you like to go over why is this a Goldfinger remake, basically? What are your parallels?
So, Goldfinger. The thing with Goldfinger is he was a a mysterious businessman whose origin they're not entirely sure of.
Yep.
It's the gold is the number one thing. They don't really know where the gold is coming from and where he's getting it from. So I suppose it's parallels where they found a chip, but the chip is identical to another chip that the government made to protect against EMP effects.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how he's got this. They don't know where he's come from. He has no accent, apparently.
Yeah.
So it's the same. They're investigating the same thing for that.
Mm-hmm.
James Bond goes out to meet Goldfinger by playing golf with him.
Yep. But this is Ask It or something instead. A horse.
Well, I think they go there to see him, but in the same way, he goes to the horse thing, and they both end up. I'm going to say competing. They're not really competing on horseback because it's.
And Goldfinger also has that horse ranch at the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah.
Basically the same thing.
So there's that. You've got a assistant henchman who's unbelievably strong and very few words spoken. You have. I was going to say it's maybe a bit of a reach to say you have someone in their employ who then turns, but the geologist was never in the employ. She was bought over.
I have that they have the guy that disagrees that is anyone like to drop out is parallel with Solo, who gets crushed in the car
by the henchman, henchman Black.
I also have that both villains are like backed by communists. So obviously in Goldfinger he gets a nuclear bomb from the Chinese, and
does he?
And Max Zorin's like from the KGB.
Yeah.
So that's like an East versus West thing.
I didn't get how the KGB weren't actually involved with this. They just wanted like something returned,
like a defector or something. He was like, "You're going the off piece."
He used to be in the KGB. Yeah. What else do we have?
He wants to destroy the microchips instead of destroying the gold.
He wants to inflate the value of his own
company or whatever
thing.
Yeah. Exactly.
He's
the same film.
He starts killing his own men at the end.
Oh yes.
What else do we have?
Jesus.
The only thing I would say is Mayday did the change at the end for the better.
Kind of like Pussy Galore did though. Well, the Pussy Galore survives.
Yeah, I suppose like Odd Job would have freaked out having been locked in the vault with. Literally, he knows he's going to die,
but he still just tries to fight him.
Yeah, so
whereas
I suppose that's one thing. What else?
There. That's all I've got written down. But I also knew that Grace Jones used to like play tricks. So see the scene where they're in the bed together.
I know you're going to say here.
Oh, jeez.
Get the Knispy said.
Knispy said it's written down, underlined in bold.
Go on, tell everyone then.
Grace Jones would hide a large black dildo in the bed for their sort of love scenes with Roger Moore.
That's how Roger had that expression.
Probably his real reaction.
Do you know what I have noticed? A reaction I really liked was Christopher Walken's reaction when he's looking at the computer and it's coming up with like, extremely dangerous. He's going, license to kill.
Very Christopher Walken.
Yeah, I thought that was quite funny. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's one of those movies where it could be. I know we've said before about movies that could be much better remade. I think it's starting to become quite relevant. And I know when they made this movie, they were very conscious. They were very conscious in terms of the song because they wanted the song to be obviously Duran Duran approached them aggressively to do the song.
Drunkenly.
Yeah. Stop bringing out shit.
But
there was a lot of marketing put towards that because then a lot of maybe get a younger audience, the MTV generation, because that was essentially on the rise. It introduced technology where it put like an actual threat into it. I didn't really understand how the actual government guy was just an actual dinosaur. Everything was there's the Russians. It was like the microchip. A nuke could go off and it would
Yeah.
Get rid of all the microchips. We'd be exposed to the Russians. They're like,
It's
"What-
called
why
the
why is
Russians."
it just the Russians? You should retire. Yeah, so I think it made it a more relevant because I think Moonraker, as we said before, was really just trying to be relevant to a very specific type of audience.
Mm-hmm.
For Your Eyes Only, it
Nerds.
was relevant to nobody. The Spy Who Loved Me was a spy movie.
Yep.
The Man with the Golden Gun was,
Two
in
assassins.
my eyes, a really good movie, but no one really cared. If you go and see it, don't go and see it, that's fine. Live and Let Die was essentially, there's a new James Bond, let's go see what it's all about.
Yeah.
But A View to a Kill was trying to be relevant, set up the 80s, a bit more violent.
Yeah, it was trying to
Bit more
be 80s and it just kind of fell flat, really.
I don't know anything bad about it. I don't know anything good about it. We're saying it is like Goldfinger. Goldfinger's topping that rating there. Like,
Yeah,
so,
it's
but
nothing
in
like
theory,
Goldfinger.
it should be up there. But it's just not as. It's not as iconic. I think it's veering too much close to the 80s. Again, I'm not entirely sure why it was made. I don't know why. Roger clearly disagreed with it. Roger didn't like it. Why he was even there.
And that's something we can't find out, is why he came back in the first place. He was obviously 57. He'd just had Botox to make him look less old in the film before filming.
He still looks better than he did in For Your Eyes Only.
He does, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like 4
Was
years.
that the Botox?
That's
But yeah,
the
I
Botox.
think given the fact our last episode was Octopus and that went so well, and
Yeah, the film went so well. That could have been, he could have ended it that way.
It would have been
ended on a
strong.
high, but he didn't. I can't even say why he would do it because I don't know.
one thing that was quite good about this was maybe it's a bit of a nice send off is I would say the imagery or the photography of this movie was actually really nice. Like the shots at the end on the Golden Gate Bridge when he's on the cable and looking up. That's you know exactly what this movie is. And to be honest, now I think about it, if you ever see the Golden Gate Bridge,
Yeah,
you're like,
you always think
View
of
to
that
Kill.
film.
Regardless of the movie. I mean, what's another movie? Like X-Men 3?
Oh,
Do we still talk about that? Yeah, it's always there. Like Golden Gate Bridge, View to
Yeah.
Kill, a blimp, View to Kill.
Yeah,
So these two
Yeah.
random things, a structure and a vehicle.
yeah, you're right. There is some standout moments that have stood the test of time, but not the actual film itself, just visuals from it.
Yeah.
And
I think-
that's its problem. It had no it had no originality, obviously, because it's just ripped off. But it tried to update the 60s, try to make it the 80s. It's very 80s fashion, especially with Grace Jones in it.
Yeah.
But it didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
it was a commercial success. I knew that. But
Yeah.
it didn't.
I think the reason it's a commercial is that I'm going to put down is the song and the music.
Yeah,
I
Duran
genuinely,
Duran.
I think it's that, and I think it's the fact that it's Christopher Walken. Mm-hmm. Christopher Walken, at this point, as I understand, Christopher Walken was the only person up until this point who was an Academy Award winner. I don't think he won it. Did he get? When was the Deer Hunter? Was that 70s?
79.
So he got an Academy Award for the Deer Hunter. So he would have been. He's a big name.
Yeah, he's
At
a
that
big
point.
deal.
But I think that the song and the music, the fact that it was tapped into that audience really worked. And it was like kind of younger generation. And they obviously liked the song. Like, let's go see the movie. This old guy jump over the bridge. So that hit the mark perfectly. Roger was too old. That missed the mark. But then it's like, who would you get in? Would you get someone in?
You'd get Timothy Dalton in.
I know he was rumoured, but then
He was obviously in the running for it at that point anyway. And
Timothy Dalton would have actually been really well with it because it was quite a gritty
I think
movie.
him being in it would have made it more gritty and less. There's not that much silliness in it. He would have turned the silliness into cool, I think.
Yeah, as he then goes on to do.
Yeah.
I think this is maybe the cusp because Roger was too old for that. Max Zorin was too much of
To a head.
like a psychotic villain for Roger Moore.
Yeah. Yep, that's it.
Like, it wasn't that he was just cold. Cold is Scaramanga.
Yep.
That's it. That's essentially where he is. But that's laughing and shooting people and stuff like that. It's like, that's right.
That's not the guy who dressed as a clown.
Yeah, that's not going to fly with Roger. And there's even points where Roger's trying to be serious to him. And I'm like, I just don't believe you. You're just an old man. Like,
yeah, he's just an old man telling off a young guy.
Yeah, shut up. It didn't really work. I think there wasn't enough Bond-isms.
No.
You know, as you said, there's not really enough lines. He says it's not really it's not really an original story. I feel as though people kind of got that, where there was points that it just wasn't moving along. The bits I didn't really understand why he had to be an experiment from a Nazi doctor. Is this why it's just got to explain his psychosis?
Yeah.
Can he not just be a psycho?
Yeah, they have to bring it back to some.
It needs to be a Nazi Russian psycho.
Because we've not had that before.
Yeah. A Nazi and it wasn't a Nazi actually. No, the opposite.
No, it was
The child of someone in a concentration camp
is
raised by
It doesn't say who he was raised by.
I think that's the point. Yeah. Well, they say he was a child of an experiment.
Yeah.
By a Nazi scientist.
Yeah.
And then the Nazi scientist was taken by the Russians. And I don't know.
And yeah, now they're best friends.
Again, it's asking for someone to be unbelievably evil.
Yeah.
But there's only so much you can put in before it's just his film.
How evil can we make these? It's like, shout out, who's evil? Nazis. Yes, he's a psycho. Oh, right, okay, good.
Russians, write the Russians down as well.
Who else is
blonde hair? Write it down. Like, yeah, it's just. I think that was maybe too much for it. There's not really any gadgets. There's not really a lot of Bond moments. It's very 80s action.
Yep.
Star. The car chase was good. Yeah. Kinda. See when the police are on the bridge and then that car crash, I was like, they're dead. There is absolutely no way that they're still. They get out. Oh, what happened? I'm like, mate, you would be in traction for years. Like, no. And then the other guy going, that's coming out your salary. I was like,
that's right.
Fucking are you for real?
He just survived an unsurvivable event.
Is that how it worked? Yeah,
I don't think that's how it works.
I don't know. I think it missed a lot of marks.
Yes.
I would like it to have done well. I don't know. It's definitely not the worst. Or is it?
Oh, I think it's the worst Roger film.
No, I think we all know what the worst. You can't tell me that this movie is worse than For Your Eyes Only.
I can tell you that.
No, I will not have it. Equal?
They're equally bad. I actually liked For Your Eyes Only.
Well,
I didn't like this.
You are wrong.
I don't know whose time it is, but we've almost come to that. But we also have a question to give.
Oh yeah, third question.
Right, okay. I have to end the year. I have an easy question, or would you like to give them one of your hard ones?
I've actually already said my hard one. That was the one. No, you can give it. You do the
right, my easy question was, what was the name of the medal awarded to 007 at the end by the KGB? He says it.
The one that's definitely not bugged or has some kind of isotope attached to it.
Nothing that's going to kill you like Salisbury poisonings. Before we round off, I was going to say a quick did you know that David Bowie was meant to play Zorin?
Yeah.
Did you know that when he passed on it, they gave it to Sting? And Sting said no.
I thought it was actually written for Sting.
I think it was written for well, in the characterization, it's supposed to be he has two different coloured eyes, which is obviously it was written for David Bowie, and then the blonde hair, which Bowie did have at the time, and Sting had at the time, and then it got given to somebody else, and they passed on it, and so like Christopher Walken was fourth, basically.
I thought he was good.
He was very good.
I just think he was good, isn't he?
He briefly mentioned the facial recognition thing.
I know about this.
And the guy who asked for it.
Is it the guy whose his story's based on Argo?
Yeah,
is that right?
So the guy from Argo was like, his boss said to him, "Do we have anything like that?" And he was like, "No." And then he was told to go make it. Go make facial and that reminded me of when the army, remember the Sean films, we were like The army came
Is
up
that
and
impossible thing real?
said, is that underwater breather real? Can we have that? It's the same thing. The CIA were like, oh, James Bond's got that. I want it. Go make it. I thought that was pretty cool.
That is quite good.
That and the airships. Obviously, the end scene where he's like clinging onto the rope to climb up into the Zeppelin wasn't filmed. It was filmed in England, in Sussex, so a densely populated area. And apparently, the police got so many phone calls saying there's somebody hanging from a balloon. Can you go look after it?
What are the police going to do?
Disrupt the whole set. They obviously didn't have, like, they didn't letter the tenants for filming back in the day.
By the way, we are going to be doing this. I know when David Bowie was offered, he went and did Labyrinth, but he also didn't like the James Bond movies.
I read that as well. He said he hadn't seen anything since the Sean Connery era.
So, to be honest, back then it wasn't that far away. Over 10 years.
Well, he was too busy being like a massive pop star.
Go get it.
Yeah, probably did watch.
He probably watched them all. We just can't remember. Oh, David.
Oh, yes, that's why we love you.
Well,
we've come to the end of the episode. It's the end of an era. It's the end of Roger Moore. It's the end of Lois Maxwell. It's the end of...
It's the end of those pesky Russians. Oh, wait, is it? No. Nah, they're always there.
No, the Russians are always there.
Always there.
It's also the last film for Bob Simmons, who was the stunt double for Sean Connery right at the very start and worked all the way up through all these films, and this is his last film.
I think Bob Simmons is the guy who got really hurt in Octopussy. When I was saying it was the guy who was hanging off the train.
He
fractured his hip and broke his leg. Because I know he came back for a movie, and I think this is probably it.
I think this was his last.
After much recuperation from it.
But he's also the first guy to be in the gun barrel scene, because it's not Sean, it's actually Bob Simmons that does it.
Oh, with the hat?
Yes.
That's good to know.
So
Robert. Bob.
So it's the end of it's the end of an era for not just Roger, but for supporting cast as well. I
think the whole thing actually changes, because when Timothy Dalton comes in, I know people always talk about that grit thing, but it did stay. This is kind of the end of campy. I don't want to say just funny, but
Pierce does. We'll get into. But
Pierce is a bit more suave, I would say.
Yeah.
Kind of funny, but it's still...
Yeah, we don't like Pierce anymore. It's a joke that nobody will get. But,
no, unless you do get
it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting out of the 80s, because obviously Pierce is our Bond, and then that'll be good.
I like Timothy Dalton.
We're more than halfway there, guys.
I know.
Thanks for sticking out.
More than halfway. We've still got a lot of stuff to go. So, let's do the ranking. I forgot to take the magnet out, so why don't you hold this? I'll get the magnet. And you can talk to the people.
Yeah, so like I said at the start, if you're enjoying this, please like, comment, subscribe. The more that you like it and the more subscribers we get, the bigger and better the podcast can become. And Derek was going to tell you about some stuff about next year, but he's lost that.
And he's back.
What are you going to say about next year?
Yeah, so as you know, watching this, we do specials every now and then. We've actually got a special which will be coming up very soon, in the middle of December, where we've actually got some drinks companies involved who have been generous enough to send us some bottles.
Yeah.
And we'll have some discount codes for you as well to get your own wee vodkas and gins and
do your Christmas
rums,
cocktails.
and you can get everything with that. So that's the next special. But we do other specials, as you know, our recasting specials, our first time viewing specials.
Yeah.
This is technically a special when we dress up like this.
Yeah.
But hoping to get some guests on. The kind of guests
for the new
you've
year.
Probably never heard of before or seen on episodes.
It's not our friends.
The unsung heroes. But then again,
people
it'd be good to get kind of big names as well onto it. So, in order to look less like two wee BAM guys for Blanter.
To entice the sort of big
Yeah,
stars.
we would like you to, if you're on Spotify, then rate it. If you're on Apple, then rate it. Give it 5 stars. Just don't give it a 1 star.
Yeah.
Give it 5 stars. Give it a like. Give it a share. Give it a subscribe. Most of our people who watch it on YouTube are not subscribed. So if you want to subscribe to that, because it's Christmas, I ask you for my Christmas, please share the podcast. Thank you.
All I want for Christmas is a share.
Yeah,
and a
just
subscription.
just share the podcast, and yeah, hopefully it gets bigger and better from here. Because this has been 9 months, no, 10 months, 9 months. At this
9
point.
months.
Yeah, a long time. We're only just halfway through.
I know.
Got a long way to go.
Another 9 months.
A
of
long
this.
way to go. Wait till Daniel's on the podcast.
And if you want Daniel to be on the podcast,
You're going to have to vote for it. So, this week, for those who are listening and not watching, I have to rank where I think A View to a Kill should go.
Right, so
and
you're
then,
ranking it.
I believe is that right?
I
Yes.
can't remember, but yeah, sure. Go.
You
go
put
for it.
Octopussy last week and then I moved it. Yes, so it's me, so it's
that's
my
right.
turn with that. So whilst I'm doing that,
Well,
you can chat away. Give your
At the
facts.
end of the era, I'm going to say I disagree with Derek because I think that For Your Eyes Only was better than this film. But I'm going to give my opinion of Roger Moore whilst we wait. So when we're coming into Roger Moore era all the way back
Coming
10
into Roger Moore.
how many years ago? 12 years ago. I was like, I'm not really a fan of Roger. Too silly. It's not serious enough. The stories are boring. And I sort of specifically mentioned Octopussy. I remember that being terrible, and For Your Eyes Only, and all these kind of sort of films that nobody likes, the black sheep of the Bonds. But I'd like to say that I have changed my mind.
You've enjoyed.
I actually
revisiting it?
enjoyed Roger's later period more than I enjoyed his early period.
How about Live and Let Die?
Live and Let Die was good, but it's no Octopussy. And that's something I don't think I would ever have said that before rewatching these. So yeah, Roger Moore isn't as bad as I thought he was going to be. Right, that's good enough.
That's your Jack Oliver 2023. Roger Moore isn't as bad as I thought he would be. Okay,
But he's not the best.
Well, I have ranked where I think A View to a Kill should go, and I think that's actually a very fair ranking. I know you disagreed with the positions of it before, but I genuinely think that's a fair one. I think in terms of my takeaways from, because obviously we're through 3 Bonds now,
Yep.
through Sean, George, and Roger. I don't really know if my opinions of them have really changed. I think the individual movies have definitely changed.
Yeah.
I thought Octopussy was like dog shit when I was younger watching it, just because I didn't really get what was going on. And obviously we've ranked it quite high. I think even The Man with the Golden Gun, like, that was surprising to look back on, just at how, I'm not going to say flawless it was,
Yeah.
but then we kind of, with some movies we do mark down because they're not Bondy, and
No.
The Man with the Golden Gun wasn't really Bondy, but it was just enjoyable to watch.
I think we fall victim to misremembering things.
Yeah.
And taking
I can't remember Doctor No.
and thinking, oh, when I was like 6, I thought this was a good film, and then watching it again and going, actually, it wasn't a good film.
Yeah,
That kind of thing is what we do. So
we're not very good at that.
it's the end. This is the last time we'll be doing this board in 2023, and let's just go out with a bang because Derek's going to explode.
What have you done? See if you've put Diamonds Are Forever at the top.
I've not quite done that.
People will see an actual visual representation of a board being snapped in half over a knee.
I've not done that, but
Show me what you've done.
I have risen it.
What have you risen? No, no. Diamonds Are Forever is not better than A View to a Kill.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
No,
Yes, it is.
no. See, this is the kind of viewing that's going to get the old men annoyed.
How? It's a Sean film. They'll love it. I agree with that.
Of course you agree with it, because you said it.
I would say that I would actually put A View to a Kill like 2 or 3 below where you've put it.
No.
But Diamonds Are Forever is a better film than The View to a Kill. That's my popular opinion.
It's not popular.
50% of this room agrees.
It's just like people listening are just going to listen to this like silent rage building. Just okay, well, I can't do anything about it. I'll need to wait till next year to change that. So just to read out the viewings for
audio,
those who are audio only, or you can actually watch it and look at it as well. We finished the year with Doctor No still at the bottom, which it should be, but
it feels
a lot of people disagree with that. Yeah,
harsh.
Doctor No at the bottom, then Thunderball, then Moonraker, then You Only Live Twice, then For Your Eyes Only, then A View to a Kill, then for some unbeknownst reason Diamonds Are Forever has managed to creep its way back up there. Then we have On Her Majesty's Secret Service, Live and Let Die, The Man with the Golden Gun, The Spy Who Loved Me, Octopussy, From Russia with Love, and Goldfinger. Those haven't moved. Those top two haven't moved.
They're strong.
Yeah, they are quite strong. I think they will change quite soon.
View to a Kill is far too high.
No.
Far too high.
No. Don't you touch that over the winter break. It's all been moved. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us for this episode, and actually for joining us for the first half of going to the movies and the specials, and technically our first year.
Yeah, it's the first year. You can say
Yeah.
that.
So that is the end of an era. I hope you've been watching this with your suits on. Please don't do that.
That was the prerequisite, right?
Yes. But yeah, as we said at the start, if you want to like and share and to do all that fun stuff, and the next time you'll see us on our drink special, which I say will be Christmas themed, there'll be Christmas decorations definitely in it.
Yeah. It's drinks you can make for Christmas. I'm sure some of you will.
Yeah, you can play along, you can drink at home, and then that'll be us. So, obviously this is the last episode with that, so if we don't see you before then have a nice Christmas. That's the usual Scottish thing. If I don't see you before Christmas, then have a nice one. But yes, have a nice Christmas, have a nice New Year, and if you're watching this in 2024, then I hope you had a nice Christmas and a nice New Year.
Are we still alive?
No.
In the next year? Right, okay,
No.
goodbye.
Bye-bye.
We've this out too much. Bye.